All right, so getting back into our topics for this week. Another thing that I find is kind of interesting, and you guys let me know how you feel about this as well. But have you ever noticed how how Hollywood treats biblical movies? Or I'll say the way that the way they interpret biblical movies, and I say that because I recently watched Noah. I don't know if you guys have seen Noah, but I watched Noah with Russell Crowe. Did you guys see that movie?
Yeah, I saw it.
The rock creatures.
Yeah. So it's like all of this completely non-biblical stuff in this movie, and I'm sitting there, blown away. I'm like, that's not in Genesis. That's
Wasn't it the tea or something that he drank?
It was something. Well, I'm gonna tell you what I picked up on. You tell me what you picked up on. So I picked up on the fact that Ham, his son, wife died, and they didn't have her on the boat. I picked up on the fact that these giant rock creatures were, as if that wasn't obvious, these giant rock creatures were helping to build the ark. And then a great big battle broke out at the ark that day. I thought, now get me, it was an excuse me moment, but I was like, excuse me, where'd these rock people come from, and what battle was this that took place? Right. I mean, because you had like this big old rainstorm, which we know occurred, but then you got like this evil dude leading a band of bandits to try, and then check it out, he actually got onto the ark. Now I missed that part completely. I reread everything. I'm like, there was nobody else.
Back to the word.
Amen. Yeah. Because he actually drilled a hole from the outside of the boat, got on the boat. Now I want to know how he patched the hole. I guess I'm gonna have to rewatch
how
the movie.
How he drilled a hole?
How did he get? He banged his way into the boat, and then he ate rats. Now apparently, now remember, it was 2 of everything they got on the boat, right? But this dude was able to eat a whole bunch of rats. So it was a bunch of rats on the boat. This dude on the boat, giant rock people, and I was disturbed. I mean, what do you think? Because I was like, that is not Bible.
Right. The only thing I didn't like, one was pretty much everything you just mentioned, but 2, I mean, it just was kind of like weird when you read the story as opposed to watching this movie. Nowhere in the Bible. Maybe I got to go back and reread it again. It was like he was disgruntled during the whole movie. Like he didn't want to.
Yeah, it was like angry Noah, wasn't it?
It was like, the Bible didn't say that Noah was angry about it. Just he just did it. I mean, and I know they have to put their Hollywood theme in there, but like some of the stuff that they've been doing, Exodus. Like
with Christian Bale,
that even
dude, that wasn't even close to.
And then the corny
Ben
movies,
Hur is better than that. Yeah.
Even the corny movies that come on TBN, like you look at some of them, like the only movie that I really like was what's the name of that movie? The Mel Gibson movie,
Passion of the Christ.
Passion of the Christ.
Yeah. That was pretty good.
I actually liked that movie.
Yeah, they tried to put a lot of emphasis on Mary though. I did notice there was a lot of emphasis placed on her, but a lot of the other stuff was pretty on point.
Right, and again, we get that, they got to Hollywood that stuff up, but at the same time, don't try to create a whole different story from what the Bible was saying if you're going to do the movie.
Because they did another one recently, or it's either out or it came out or it's about to come out. The one about everything from the perspective of Pontius Pilate. It's a movie, like everything's from his perspective. So it kind of like they showed it. They showed this in the previews. I saw like he goes into the tomb looking for the body of Jesus. I'm like, when did that happen?
Yeah. See,
I didn't see that part. Right. You know what I mean? I do pay attention. I try to pay attention. I read the word. I just didn't see that part.
Right.
You know what I mean? Maybe I missed it. Maybe there's a different Bible.
Right. And like if you look at the books that they do, the Harry Potters and all these other books that they turn into the movies and the Hunger Games, they pretty much stay the course.
Yeah.
Those books.
So why you gotta add to the Bible?
Why the Bible have to be any different?
It shouldn't be.
The fiction of the shows are overwhelming the biblical, especially like I don't know if you heard of the TV show AD, the Bible series.
Yeah, I saw that.
I haven't watched it. I've heard of it.
I've
though.
seen it.
It's supposed to be about Acts, but they did the stoning of Stephen.
Stoning of Stephen, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he was, doing his speech, and in the Bible he did his speech saying,
Yeah.
why are you resisting the Holy Spirit and all that, then they stoned him. Well, in the TV series, it was like he just stormed to the council, like, I'm putting this pause on y'all, like that kind of
wow.
attitude, and it was like,
Is that Stephen?
I was like-
that was Stefan.
right, that was not on, because I was like, now I know I'm not, top notch, I don't know it word for word, but I don't remember that part.
Yeah. I think they do it just to be more appealing to a broader audience, to be
Yeah,
honest,
I
because
definitely think
a lot of people, if a lot of people don't, either they elect not to or don't want to believe the Bible anyway, so because of that, the existence of that fact, they make a movie and then just fill it with other aspects of opinion and fiction, because in their opinion the Bible's not valid anyway. So if they're gonna make the movie, they make the one that they want to make.
Right.
Well, another point is I found out that the writers of A.E. are actually not even like spiritual people at all. So
Really?
that could be another point too. That they're just literally doing this for the money.
Just doing it for the money. Yeah. Because I mean, you in every time you see Jesus in a movie, he's European. And we could do a whole segment on that, but
You see, I got quiet. I ain't even say
Yeah,
nothing.
Yeah, you can't even touch
I
that.
ain't even gonna
the
go
European
there.
depiction, but it just speaks to the way that people just Hollywood stuff up. You know what I
Jesus
mean?
got a straight perm.
Yeah. Where did perm come from?
Right,
That's what I
right.
want to know. Why Jesus look like Fabio
All the time.
all the time? It's like, come on, son. That's not how that works. That's not how any of that works.
Hair of wool is not perm hair.
Okay, but you know what? We're gonna talk about this next week.
Yeah. We just gonna put it out there.
Hashtag table that till next week.
That's all
We
about
gonna
was
get that.
His hair was
Oh yeah.
made of wool or felt like wool. That ain't
Yeah.
perm. That ain't.
Ain't nothing about your perm.
That ain't nothing about perm.
The soul glow.
It's juices and berries.
Juices and berries today. But now it's time for Massey's Minute. So Massey, what in the midst of us in our shenanigans, what do you have for us this week, bro?
Oh my gosh. I got hashtag me sex. No, I'm joking. I wanted to focus on, I was reading about marriages again, and they were talking about how the number one leading cause of marriage is financial issues. For the men and the women. Either the men just want to spend it all and don't want to plan, or the women don't want to spend it all and don't want to plan. So just kind of some encouragement to everybody that's married or want to get married. Finances is a huge thing.
Yes.
It's huge. And you have to remember that when you get married to somebody, your debt becomes their debt.
It does. Indeed.
So the choices that you made, if you come with a lot of debt, those choices, at some point you got to change. At some point you have to figure it out as a team.
Yeah.
Y'all married. There shouldn't be one spending more than the other, or no allocation of, okay, this is where our funds are going. I mean, you have to literally have a plan. I mean, all of the surveys that I was reading, pretty much they were saying that 50% of divorces in a marriage, 34% of that is what the financial part is. But they're throwing different statistics out there. But I've seen it. I've seen where a woman just spends, and she feels like, well, you're the man, you're supposed to take care of me and give me whatever I want. But you can't. You got to change that if you want your marriage to be effective.
Yeah.
You got to first start with God. It starts with God, and
Absolutely.
it starts with God. It starts with y'all tithing together. You can't have one tithing and not the other tithing, because
So in that vein though, with what you're saying, do you think that it's good for a couple to, if they haven't already, do some sort of financial workshops or economic empowerment workshops together to learn more about finances and the impact that it can have on their marriage and their world?
oh, definitely. I think that's something that we all could use. Just financial classes, even if you still gotta always sharpen. It's just kind of like college. You sharpen your knowledge. You look for investments. There are people out there that don't even invest. They have no stock, and that's a beautiful thing to be able to leave your children to save up.
Yeah.
So taking classes, having a plan, having an action plan, having a goal, maybe a 1 year, 3 year of where your marriage financially should be.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Having I don't want to, because people don't like to call it an allowance. I heard a woman say, "Well,
I get an allowance.
My husband ain't gonna give me no allowance." It's not allowances in your child.
Call it a stipend.
Right.
There you go. There's another
Just change it up.
Change
Just-
the attitude.
Right. But I mean, what are y'all thoughts on that? I mean,
I agree. I know that for me, my wife and I, that was an area of contention initially in our relationship because we're both independent. We both were financially sound. We had our own way of doing our finances, and we both did it effectively. So it's not like one of us was better than the other as it related to the way we govern our finances. But when we sat down together and we actually had a conversation about making sure that our future was sound and making sure that we were going to be solid from a financial perspective, I realized in that conversation that this was a couple of years ago now, that she's actually more effective at that than I am.
right.
So it was not a hard decision for me to then say, in that area, you take the lead and I follow suit, because she's really good with money. So because she's really good with money, I am the passenger in that in particular car as it relates to our relationship. So it wasn't difficult for me, but it was hard getting used to doing things a different way. And you use the word allowance. We don't call it an allowance, but I refer to it as my cut.
Yeah.
You know what I
Pretty
mean?
much,
But I get my cut every time the bills are done, and I know what's budgeted out for me as my money. I know what's budgeted out as far as the house goes, and we work very well together. So I think that it's very key that you're on the same page financially, because it can lead to divorce and it can lead to problems. What do you think, Al?
I agree with pretty much everything that y'all are saying. Definitely have a plan, be together. Because some guys, they got too much pride, so some guys wouldn't even probably done what you did and let their wives,
She better at it.
take control. But some people, don't think like that, and that's how they get to those points of arguments and divorce. And don't hide stuff from each other. Don't keep people out of the loophole. When you start hiding financial things, that's
You'll
a
hide
big
anything.
problem. You open up the door for not being trustworthy and honest. It's like, well, how much are you really making? You try to say I got a spending problem, things like that. You just don't want to.
Well, that begs the question. Before I ask the question, that's one of the things I did. My wife is better with money than I am, so she controls the bills and all that, because I just know it. But that begs the question, and I polled this on Facebook, and I got very interesting answers. When you get married, do you put all your finances together, or do you have a pot together and a pot separately? What are y'all thoughts on that?
Well, we've got the house account,
Right.
and then I got my account and she has hers.
Okay.
So with the house account, all the bills get paid, all the investment money is in that account. All the, we have a savings account together. So all of our net worth is gathered into our accounts that we have together. Now I do have my account.
Okay.
And she has her own personal account. I don't ask her what she does with that one. She don't ask me what I do with that
But you
one.
know what? But
When I come home with Jordans, there's no questions,
Right.
Because it's not money from the house. You know what I'm saying?
But that works for y'all.
It works perfectly
and that's
for us.
good.
It's
'Cause
harmony.
I've had people debate and say, well, no, once you marry, that's
Right.
all y'all money. I get
That's
that.
a broke person.
But
That's a lie.
but it's kind of good to have that safety net to make sure, because you said it, y'all responsibilities are handled first.
Absolutely.
Savings, bills,
Tithe
tithe,
comes off the top.
yeah,
All
tithe,
that.
savings, bills. Pay God, pay yourself. Have a budget to make sure you know what you're doing, and
Yep.
then have that separate stipend, not necessarily
That's it.
allowance.
That's the
in case.
account that I buy my
Right.
cigars with.
There you go.
No questions.
There you go.
And her expensive purses. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that? Into the mic? Sorry, babe.
She gonna be waiting outside for you. It ain't gonna be the church.
Take one home with you.
Now I gotta go buy one.
Right.
And another thing is and I read that a lot of problems were big expenses.
Yeah.
Just going out and buy a car without telling your spouse. Now, regardless if y'all have separate accounts, no. Something like that needs to be discussed. If you're buying anything over, I'm just going to throw it out there, like $500, that's a conversation that you need to have. Like, hey, I'm just letting you know. That's just out of respect for your spouse.
Yeah.
Just in case. You never know what could happen. Somebody could get sick. You know, anything could happen. But big purchases, make sure. So overall, I'm just saying, make sure y'all communicate that. If you're not married, go through, premarital counseling, and that's something that your counselor should talk about.
Yeah.
How are you handling your finances? I ran into one pastor who said, he does a 6-month counseling, and one of the requirements are you got to have a budget plan as an individual and a married couple. Like, what are y'all budget for? Because he wants to, that's something to be said. That the highest cause you would think is infidelity.
It's like cash, man.
It's
That money.
money.
It's
Money.
that money.
Right.
Yeah. The love of money is the root of all evil.
But that's
I
my
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Good spotlight this week, bro. So we're approaching the end of the show. So as always, I'm gonna close the show out with some thoughts that I want you to take with you into next week. So 2 Corinthians 5:17 says, "If anyone is in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things have passed away, and behold, all things have become new." I want to speak this week basically to a person who was much like myself. Anybody who's been in a situation where you had to overcome the past, or where you had to overcome anything tied to the past. I want to encourage you this week because you don't have to remain stuck in your mistakes. You don't have to remain stuck in the things that you did wrong, the things that you may have not handled properly in your life. Everybody out there that can hear this broadcast has made a mistake. Everybody has done something that they weren't happy with, that they were maybe ashamed of, that they didn't necessarily want anybody else to know. Whatever the case may be, there's so many things that make us ashamed. So many things that make us or tie us down and have us bound when we should be free. And what I've found in my personal life and what I'm encouraging you to do today is to understand that through Christ you can be free. You do not have to live up under the mistakes that you made. If there was something that you did, or something someone said over your life, or something that you said over your life, you can turn it around. Today's a new day. You don't have to exist in the past. You don't have to. Don't let people keep you bound in the past. Because some people are only going to remember what you did. They're only going to remember the things that you did wrong. They're only going to remember the things that you did in their life that had a negative impact on them. And regardless of what you've done to turn your life around, and regardless of what you've done to demonstrate that you're different, they're always going to hold you to what you did before. So to that person that's dealing with the chains of the past, let them go. Understand that that's not where you have to be, and you don't have to be there. Ask God to forgive you. If you're a person who is in that situation right now and you don't know exactly what to do, simply ask God to forgive you. Because guess what? When you ask Him to forgive you, He's going to forgive you. And then the second thing you need to do is forgive yourself. Don't be your own worst enemy. Because if God forgave you and He's not holding it against you, there's absolutely no reason for you to hold it against yourself. So understand your value. I was talking to one of my friends this week, and a shout out to Corey, because he gave me this analogy during the course of a conversation. And it's a powerful analogy, and I'm going to end the show with this. $100 bill is $100 bill, whether it's fresh off the mint, whether it's crumbled, whether it's tattered on the edges, whether it's dirty, whether it's been disregarded and set to the side for years. That $100 bill still holds its value. So when you look at yourself and when you face your past, understand that you are still valuable. You are still worth something. You are still important. And don't allow for the past to keep you chained. You can overcome the past as long as you don't allow for the past to keep its hold on you. This has been our broadcast for this week. We thank you for your love. We thank you for your support. To all our fans and followers out there, we greatly appreciate all the love that you give us. Check us out on www.theafterchurchshow.com to see all of our social links and all the important information as it relates to our broadcast. We thank WXSL Street Legal Radio for this time that we have, and continue to support us and do all that you can. Listen to us each week, same time, same place. Real talk, real Christians. The After Church Show with Greg and friends. God bless you. Be blessed on your journey, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Deep right there. Y'all heard the big words. Y'all had to get.
So, appreciate y'all sticking in there with us. After Church Show with Greg and friends. There's the crew.
And Lou.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah, there go Lou.
What's happening?
And what's our new engineer?
Easy.
DZ in the house. Man, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We thankful for y'all. God bless each and every one of you. We will see you next week, 1 o'clock, WXXL Radio, www.streetlegal.com, www.theafterchurchshow.com. God bless.
Peace.